Welcome to Rant on Reels. I'm Michael Fooch.
And I'm Xavier Barnett.
Today on the podcast, we will be doing reviews of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Rocketman, and be giving you our top 10 monster movies.
Ooh, scary stuff.
Are you, how was your week, Xavier?
It's better now that I'm here with all my friends and the people I care about.
That's good.
I'm such a loving and nice, caring guy today.
Anything going on? Anything new?
Nothing new with me. I'm just, like I said, I'm in my happy place.
Anything going on in the world of movies?
Marvel released their, we got an idea of what Marvel's in store for next, what kind of movies they have.
Yeah, they released their next 3 years of films.
Yes.
Anything stand out to you?
A lot have stood out to me.
Okay, anything specific jump off the paper when you were looking at this?
So we're going to, spoilers for anything MCU related, so tune out now. But there's going to be an Avengers 5, and I don't see any setup movies for the Avengers.
Well, there are setup movies potentially in there, right? You've got Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which could have a Thor scene, or Thor being a part of it. You have a Black Panther 2 that can have the ability to have T'Challa work with some of the other members of the Avengers. You know, who knows what Doctor Strange has to offer as well.
Who knows? I want to see lots of magic.
And even Captain Marvel, like, who knows what they're doing with her.
Let's just hope they don't use her as much as... who knows? She's a little too powerful.
What stands out for me is 2021. I feel 2021 is going to be a defining year for the future of the MCU.
Why is that?
Well, as it stands, we have Black Panther 2 coming out, which we know what we get. We have, I think, high expectations of that movie. But you have the Eternals and Shang-Chi. Now, I don't even know who Shang-Chi is. Or I have no idea who the Eternals are either. But you have those two movies that are kind of, I would argue, C or D-list superheroes.
D-list? How about like Zed? No one knows these guys.
But I guess that's the point, right? Because if 2021 is a floppy year, how does that put forth the rest of the MCU's plans?
It's okay. They have the X-Men and Dr. Fantastic Four, so...
Dr. Fantastic Four?
Yeah, I was going to say Dr. Doom, but they have Fantastic Four, so... Even if these flop, it's okay. Because they got the mutants, baby.
That's true.
We going to see some X-Men.
Now, we know next year that Black Widow will be a prequel. Do you see either a Doctor Strange or a Captain Marvel 2 being prequels?
Maybe Captain Marvel 2? Not so much Doctor Strange. I think it's going to be him coping with new experiences. Because they haven't shown him do much.
Well, when was the last Doctor Strange movie?
2016?
2016. So this is going to be coming out in 2020. So 4 years later?
Yeah.
But really 9 years later.
That's true.
Now, if we remember
the last time we saw him was in 2018.
No, but that's not my point, though. My point is the end credit scene of Doctor Strange was setting up Doctor Strange 2 with
Mordor.
With Mordor, who is trying to find all of the other wizards to take their powers.
Yeah.
So do you think he's been at it for 9 years?
Probably.
Okay. If that's the case, then that makes sense.
Doing it on the low, right? It's keeping it on the low.
Do you see any potential in the next 3 years to have a setup movie for the 5th Avengers movie?
Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Or could the 5th Avengers movie be a setup for Phase 5?
That could be the case.
Or is this Phase... Are we on Phase 5?
We're on Phase 4 now, I think. Yeah, we're in Phase 4. So it could be a setup for Phase 5.
Could it be, right? Like, could that be the Age of Ultron or the first Avengers movie where it's just bringing everyone together again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That could be the case. We'll see what happens.
I know.
They got the TV shows, too, so that could also
I
be
hope it does, and I hope the TV shows set up in different universes that do not need us to be an impact or to follow for the movies.
I think they're gonna make you follow.
I hope not. I'm gonna probably watch a bunch of them, but I hope they don't fall. I hope they're not canon.
They're gonna be canon.
I think it hurts them if it is. You don't think it hurts them?
No. As long as everything flows.
The more you have, the harder it is to flow.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And it's not. I don't think it's about making money. I don't, because you can make money with these shows, but have them in different alternate universes. You don't need to. The money is still there to be made. I'm not saying don't make the shows. I'm just saying don't put the shows in with Phase 4 or with the MCU movies, because I think it actually hurts the amount. It hurts their ability to make money. Because if people start watching the movies and like, oh, but the shows, they kind of contradict here, now you might lose following and what you've created.
Well, it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
They can't keep this juggernaut going forever.
I'm glad it went through Endgame.
Yeah. It's good enough. We have at least one final ending, and then if everything's crap, we just
stop at Endgame.
Yeah.
In sad news, Niki Lauda passed away this week.
Yeah.
And I know this is a movie podcast, but when we went on this podcast a couple months ago, maybe, and I think in February, maybe March, we did From a Vault of the movie Rush.
Yes, and
which was a biopic for him.
Biopic for him, and Mr. Hunt.
Mm-hmm. So sad. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother.
Now, did you hear about another fan petition? These fan petitions are growing in number.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, just let the person do their work. Like, I don't agree with it. Do the work. You're not gonna. The problem I see is fans always think they know what's best, right? It's like the armchair quarterback in the NFL, or like everyone just thinks they know better.
This is social media society, right?
Yeah.
This is a huge problem with it. Everyone with an opinion thinks they know everything, and they don't.
Yeah. No.
And this one that I'm talking about is for Johnny Depp to return to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, they made a petition for that. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm all Depped out. I'm not a big fan of Johnny Depp.
Well, I'm a big Johnny Depp fan, but I think I've talked about on this podcast before that he's a side character of Jack Sparrow. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons that the universe has kind of, or the franchise has kind of taken steps back in the last 4 movies is because they've tried to focus on Jack Sparrow, but he's an outcast character, and it's hard to do that.
It is hard.
You need a hero that he can work with that amplifies his character.
Yeah, sometimes they're better as side characters than actually the main squeeze. It's like you don't make a show about Vegeta.
No. He's got to be a side character. Outcast characters have to be able to be bad, and you can't focus on a bad character to be as your hero, as your protagonist.
Yeah, except for Punisher, that worked.
Yeah. Okay.
God bless the
Punisher. All right, are we get started this week?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right, we're gonna get started with Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
All right, start with your opening thoughts there, Xavier.
This movie was really impressive. It was the visual effects were top notch. Some of the scaling was amazing. The fight scenes were insane. And they still managed to make a shit movie. I am just so shocked. How do they have such amazing visual effects and then do that? I don't know. This was just a mess. The characters were boring. The only time I felt engaged in the movie is whenever Godzilla and King Ghidorah came. Well, whenever the monsters came on board. This is a movie about monsters, and you barely see any monsters. It's mostly about human relationships that no one cares. None of them are properly developed. Everybody's dumb, making the dumbest decisions of life. Things that happen just seem to drive the plot forward. It does just for no reason. I could go on and on. Oh my goodness, it's a mess.
Xavier, but before I give you my opening thoughts, going into this movie, what do you think about it?
I was excited.
Xavier, want to tell our audience how I felt?
You said it was going to be terrible.
And I'll start my opening thoughts with that. This movie is exactly exactly what I expected it to be. All style, all special effects with no substance. None. Like the first Godzilla movie, it was too humanified.
Yeah.
Too many human things. Stupid characters. Characters you have no idea their names through most of the movie. The motives are just highly questionable. They don't make any sense. No rational human being would make them. And then, yes, the fight scenes with the monsters I would say they would have been great, except for while the fight was going on as these monsters were fighting each other, the camera's following the humans.
Yeah, which is also it's funny because I didn't notice that because I just focused on the monsters. I had tunnel vision for the monsters, and I'm like, I don't care about these guys.
What I have a hard time understanding about this movie is how the humans can be both the heroes and the villains in a movie that's named Godzilla.
Yeah, that's the because I don't think
Godzilla's relevant to the story? Because no, not really. Well, he is.
I don't think Monarch like the society Monarch. I don't think they're good people. Like I don't think that's a good organization. It's very shady.
Yeah,
And
well, we can talk about that.
Government has a good right to not trust them.
We can talk about that as we get into the movie. The last two things I want to say. This movie's all about destruction for the sake of destruction, and my final thought is it is an absolute epic disaster. And with that, let's get into it. So I want to start with Monarch a little bit because the movie starts with Monarch in San Francisco. We meet Emma and Mark, played by Kyle Chandler and Vera Farmiga, and they are in San Francisco when Godzilla first comes in the first movie.
Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, so just bear with me, that they were in San Francisco working with Monarch. Is that correct?
It seems like it, yes.
So, now, I guess this is my question for you. If I'm correct on this, how bad of parents are these two?
No, they're the worst parents in the world.
Like, I mean,
I can start from the...
I want you to think about this. They have, like, a kid that's probably, 6 and 8?
Yeah. I think one kid's, like,
maybe 10.
4.
6 and 10?
I think one's, like, 4 and one's, like, 8, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You could possibly be right on that. Mm-hmm. So you have these two kids, and they know these people work for Monarch. They know Godzilla's coming to this city, yet they bring these two kids that are sub-age 10 to the middle of Ground Zero. How bad of parents are they?
I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'll tell you when I thought it was like, what is going on here? Like, well, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but once she brought her daughter, the daughter just waltzes into the research, like top secret government research.
These parents are like, what are you doing? These are your children.
Yeah.
Godzilla's this is not like a fluffy little like petting zoo you're going to. The guy's taller than any building in the United States.
It's dangerous. Like, what is going? I don't know, man. It just.
Like
that was the first red flag. Red flag number 1.
I already tapped from the movie. I like how you're like red flag number 1. I'm like tap, goodbye. This movie is garbage. So right after this, they're calling for their son Andrew because Andrew apparently dies, and we get to 5 years later, and our two characters have went their separate ways. Mark found the bottle. Yeah, and
that's what he claims.
He's out of the picture.
Loose off the goose.
And Emma is now with her daughter, and she's more engaged in Monarch now than ever. And she's just developed this new technology called Orca, which allows her to talk to the monsters.
By giving them the alpha signal so they can listen to us.
So Emma and her daughter go into the birthing of one of the Titans. They found 17 Titans across the Earth.
Yeah.
And one is being born.
And this one's Mothra.
Yeah, Mothra, the little caterpillar that comes out of it.
Yeah.
And Emma is has this new way to communicate with it. Now, do you understand how Orca works?
At this point, no.
Because I don't understand how it works at the end of the movie either. Because they play this little thing. Do they understand English? Like, you just talk to them? Like, it calms them down. It's like
I think it just makes them go like calm, right?
That's
or
it.
Crazy, or
that's all it does.
It attracts alpha. Like it. I guess the thing is the monsters are looking for an alpha male, and then if you play the alpha, which is Godzilla technically, and everything else, they'll just follow suit to what Godzilla claims. So you play that, you copy that voice. I don't know why I didn't just copy Godzilla's voice, because if Godzilla's the alpha, why not just have Godzilla's voice?
But even more than that, like what else do you do with it?
Who knows?
Like, I don't understand. I never understood this throughout the entire movie. They play this sound. All of the Titans will become docile, and then what? I'm with the government. Kill them. Like, how is that not what you're doing with these people, with these creatures?
No, some are good and some are bad, though. We got to figure that out first.
But how do you figure it out if all you're doing is giving them a signal to make them docile?
Who knows? Maybe they want to do more. I don't know. This movie, it sucks.
Yeah. So, as Emma discovers how to talk with these creatures, they are attacked. Monarch is attacked and ambushed by a group of terrorists led by Jonah Allen, who is played by one of my favorite actors,
Charles Dance.
And you know Charles Dance?
Tywin
Lannister. So
he's a good part of the movie. I think he's the best part.
So spoiler alert here for a second. So we are going to find out later on that that Jonah Allen is working with Emma in this movie. So my question really becomes, why do the terrorists dismantle the shield to protect Mothra when they're working together? Because by destroying the shield, Emma now has to go in and risk her own life and almost die to make sure this Orca thing works. And her daughter ends up running in too. And they almost die. It was like a last second
Maybe
thing.
they wanted to stage it like it was a...
But I don't understand. They killed everyone anyway.
Yeah, that's... Who knows?
It almost ruined the whole mission before it came... It came started.
Well,
Why?
Mothra wasn't going to kill. It was just going to put him against the wall. Trap him like a web.
We don't know that. And plus,
we saw Mothra do that too. He's just spinning
yeah,
webs.
but I have a question. If you get thrown into a rocky cave at like huge speeds, you smash your head, you probably will die.
Yeah, no, those guys. She was like on the... I don't know. She's probably dying anyways. Who cares? It's... Okay. I don't even know why I'm trying to defend it, to be honest.
I don't know either. Okay, but more importantly, why did they even going through this charade of capturing them?
Who knows?
Because I don't understand this. Because wouldn't it have gone much smoother if Emma just went on vacation with her daughter and she met up with Jonah and the two of them just kind of did their thing? Because the moment he kills them all and takes her, now all of Monarch are looking for that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why she didn't just go on like a vacation and then just go meet them.
Who knows?
It's less attention. No one's looking for them. She's not a prisoner of Monarch.
I think
she could take the vacation. She's not like... Monarch's not holding a gun to her head and saying, you can never take a vacation, Emma.
I think this is the one of the cases where they just try to drive the plot forward.
Oh my... It's brutal. Brutal. And let me ask you this question. Now, did you think she was actually captured?
What, at the beginning?
Yeah.
I kind of thought so. Like, I had an idea, I thought, until...
Well, I did too, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise. It still doesn't make sense to me that she was not captured. So anyways, not that any of that makes sense. That's the first 5 minutes of the movie. Have you tapped out yet, Xavier?
No.
Okay. You tell me when you tapped out. I'm already tapped. I'm long gone. So now we meet Monarch. And Monarch is talking to the government they're trying to make this case that there are good monsters out there. So we should be very nice to the monsters. It's their Earth.
We got to work together. They're needed. They help the world build and stuff like that.
Yet they've been disappeared for the last 4,000 years, probably longer. But yes, they are needed. You're absolutely right, Monarch. We agree.
Humans are a plague.
Yes, they are a plague. And I'm all for that argument. Like, I'm for the argument, but the answer isn't to have humans killed by monsters when you can protect them.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Thanos had it right. They don't have the Infinity Gauntlet.
I'm not saying... That's a different argument. So Monarch's response to Emma being captured, quote-unquote captured, is they go to locate Mark.
Yeah.
her
Well,
ex-husband.
they left trial, mid trial to go help the person. So right then and there, the movie should have been over because those guys should have been captured and killed for treason. But no.
So, anyways, he apparently Mark helped design Orca in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
This device, and he can trace it. But he somehow, as he enters Monarch, becomes the leader.
Because he knows everything. No one else knows anything. I thought these are all experts, but they don't seem to be experts.
So, yeah, I have a real question for you though. Like, who is the leader of Monarch?
The guy, what's his name?
Ishiro?
Ishiro, yeah.
No, he's not. I specifically went to look this up because I wanted to make sure because Ishiro's in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did you remember him in the first movie?
I saw clips of the first movie.
You never saw the first movie?
No, I saw the first movie. I just forgot that he was in it.
He was in it with the other scientist that we don't know her name, Vivian, Sally Hawkins' character.
Okay.
Anyway, he's just a scientist. I specifically went to rewatch it to make sure. He's just a scientist in that movie. He is not the leader. There is no leader of Monarch in this movie. Now you think in the main base of Monarch, where we also get the main ship in this huge crisis of Monarch, that the leader of Monarch would be in it. Would you not think that?
Yeah. Maybe she was the leader.
Nope, she has like no dialogue.
No, the wife.
No.
Oh, okay.
But even more reason, if she's the leader, why can't she just leave? Why is she causing this huge chaos bit of them trying to find her?
Just to drive the plot, baby. They didn't think about writing it. They just want to get that plot going.
So, anyways, because I think that it makes no sense how there's no leader, and Mark now becomes the leader.
Yeah.
He comes in there, has been out of the game for like 4 years.
Maybe it's a democracy.
Was an alcoholic, and now he's in charge.
He knows what he's doing. He's the expert.
So they go to a base. Their
Don't
main
forget
base.
he hates Godzilla.
Oh, and well, of course, Godzilla killed his son.
He killed the son.
Yes, he did by
messing with things
bringing
he
the
didn't
freaking
understand.
sun to ground zero. But they go to a base where Godzilla is apparently. So they're like keeping an eye on Godzilla. And apparently Godzilla has gotten angry because I guess he's sensing what Emma is doing.
Yeah, he's getting erratic.
And then he goes to attack the Monarch base.
Was it an attack? I thought he just went to go talk to them.
No, he goes to the base and kind of like does something to them. Remember, they close all their doors, close the shield, point their guns at him, and then Mark's like, "Guys, you gotta lower your guns and open the shields," because he wants to talk to you. And then he just kind of like uses his blue
light
thing, showing that he's the boss, and then he leaves.
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, you guys," he's like, it's his way. I guess they're trying to show that Godzilla was an ally and that he's trying to communicate with them. This is the problem with the movie. We're trying to guess what was actually happening. It's not. And I'm all for like not holding your hand, but like give us something, like some sort of like hint or anything like that. This is just, come on.
Absolutely. And then they figure out. So Godzilla's on his way to Antarctica. And they figure out that that's where they have to go. So what's the point of having Mark there? Does Mark do anything at all to help locate Emma?
No.
Not one thing in this movie to help locate Emma. So they use time and resources to go find Mark in the middle of nowhere for him to do nothing to the plot.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with this whole thing. Nothing important happens. All the human parts suck. It's like the Transformers problem.
Yeah, they're useless. So in Antarctica, Jonah and his dozen or so men go and kill every Monarch soldier, period. Or scientist, anyone who's in the base in Antarctica, which I assume are probably close to 50 people.
Yeah,
they're
they get
all
killed.
murdered in cold blood. Now, is this forgivable from Emma? Now that when we find out, because we're about to find out she's in on this, is this even slightly forgivable?
No.
This isn't even like she cannot redeem herself in this movie. To you?
She.
To you personally, me? Can she be redeemed after this scene?
No.
Okay, good, because I'm in agreement with you. This scene makes again no sense whatsoever. She's in charge. She's high up in Monarch. She can't like get them all to like Like she's had like 100 people of her own organization killed.
Yeah, and then not to mention the thousands killed from the attacks. So, I mean, I think her kill count is like hundreds of thousands at this
Yes,
point in
probably.
this movie.
So they are going to free Monster Zero, who they have known nothing about, but they figure this is the solution of the problem. The solution. Sorry, I'm getting really frustrated. Give me a second. Let me breathe.
Woosah.
Breathe. Woosah.
Woosah.
So their plan is to free one monster at a time, right? Why would they start with the monster they know nothing about?
Because that's what we got to drive the plot, baby. We got to get King Ghidorah out. Big, bad King Ghidorah. You got to take a leap of faith. It was her gut feeling. The universe told her. If you want to screw up the planet, you get open this guy up. Free him out of ice.
But you agree it makes no sense, right?
No.
Even when we find out what her plan is, it makes even less sense.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Monarch will arrive just as they're about to free them, and we find out Emma's bad at this point, that she's in on it. And the terrorists they manage to escape, but Monarch can't. They're a little behind, and their ship won't take off. So Monster Zero, who we find out is King
Ghidorah.
Thank you, King Ghidorah. He is going to kill them, and just before he kills them,
Godzilla comes. I'm not gonna lie though, the scene of like King Ghidorah being like activated, that was a pretty great scene. I'm not gonna lie, that was cool.
Yeah,
And
as each of the three heads
would
emerges,
pop up and then they'd emerge. I'm like, wow.
What did you think of the first fight scene between Godzilla and King Ghidorah?
I loved it. It's my favorite part of the whole movie, and that's about it.
See, no, I didn't like it. We didn't see it.
Because it focused so much on the humans?
I want you to rethink of this fight scene. What did we see of this fight scene?
I saw a lot. I saw King Ghidorah grab and bite Godzilla. Because I was focusing on... You were focusing on the humans. I was focusing on the fight.
I was focusing on everything that was going on. And they had little tidbits of the actual fight scene. But mostly... I was
looking at the fight in the background, and you were looking at him trapped in that stupid thing. I'm like, I don't care about that.
And this is the moment where Sally Hawkins gets like Godzilla like closes or smashes his tail on poor Sally Hawkins.
Was it Godzilla or was it King Ghidorah?
I don't know.
King Ghidorah did it. It was King Ghidorah.
It was an accident, no matter what it was.
Yeah, she got wrecked. GG. Well played. Don't be running around.
And Mark gets knocked out.
Don't run around when giant monsters are fighting. You idiot.
So
you're supposed to be a scientist.
Round one goes to King Ghidorah, and he is able to escape, and Godzilla just kind of leaves.
And Godzilla's like, "What the hell is this? These humans suck. I thought they were gonna help me," and he just swims away.
The humans like they can do anything to help against these big monsters. I have a question for you, because this is going to be a theme that goes out throughout the movie. Why do humans think they can take out these big monsters with guns?
I don't know.
Like, it's so stupid. At least in the Transformers movies, like, they find new technology to kill them.
Yeah, and on top of that, they're not even
firing like AK-40, like M14s.
These things are like dwarf the Transformers too. Like, they're not.
Yes.
Small. Like, I think only Unicron's as big as the freaking Godzilla at this
point.
It's
ridiculous. Like, it makes no sense. And they're like, yes, we're gonna beat. Like, these are all Monarch soldiers, right? Mm-hmm. You would think Monarch would have special weapons. They've been at this for generations.
And after the Godzilla attack, you think they'd develop something to help him. But no.
No, it's the same bloody M14s. M14s or M4s? Yeah. What is it?
I don't know what it is. It's
whatever the standard military assault rifle is, that's what they're shooting. So anyways, now they're on their way to Mexico. Mark wakes up from his little, like, being knocked out. Mm-hmm. And no one's believing that Emma would do it until Mark shows up and is like, no, she really did it.
I saw her.
And they find out that Emma kind of hacks into their network, and she expresses her plan.
She says she's a terrorist.
That she wants to remake the world.
She's
that
an eco-terrorist.
Monsters are actually good for the Earth. These Titans will help the Earth. First of all, is she right?
She wants to do a cleansing.
Is she right?
I mean, have you seen the Earth now and the rate we're going? We're all going to be dead anyways. So,
but is the solution to kill humans with monsters?
I guess, for her. I mean,
No,
I'm
no,
not a.
forget her. We know her plan. What do you think that it's a smart plan?
Well, I mean, if people keep saying global warming isn't real,
Okay,
it's time to wipe them out of the earth. We
So
gotta we gotta cleanse.
Okay, there's two questions here. Do you think it's a good plan? First of all, you personally,
So from what I read, from what I gathered, is the Titans go, they destroy most of the earth, and then they rebuild and protect and bring the natural resources back, and then humans have to kind of fend for themselves after that. They what I would do is have some people go to shelters, the monarch shelters that they'd have, and live in those, and then when everything's done and most of the population is killed, they all come back and we're good. We're happy.
Okay, so you think it is a good plan?
I think it's a great plan.
I think it's a horrible plan. It makes zero sense. The solution to humans is kill the humans and let the Titans remake the Earth in their own image.
It's not to save humans. I don't think she was ever trying to save humans. I think she was trying to save the planet.
Exactly. Kill humans, save the planet.
Yeah. It makes sense. We kill the planet. We take and take. We don't give back.
I'm all for humans, bad, all of that. I'm all for it. But this is... Sorry. This isn't like the animals fighting back or the Earth fighting back to kill the humans. We're basically saying let's kill ourselves. It makes no sense for us to kill ourselves. It just doesn't.
I think it makes sense.
I mean, I think it's a horrible motive. Anyways, so it's at this moment in time, so we find out that the daughter, Madison, has been in on the plan the entire time and is on board with it. But at this moment, she now has second thoughts.
Well, she's a kid, so I can let that happen. She's like, oh, we're gonna save the planet by just rebuilding it, and then it sounds like her mother kind of didn't tell her full truths, just half truths as well.
Fair enough.
And she's a daughter.
I can respect that.
That one I wasn't really upset about.
So Emma now awakens Rodin in Mexico. Now somehow the military that was on the same plane as everyone else gets there before the big plane.
Yeah.
Again, no sense there. Monarch is able to distract Rodin while they free all of the people, and lead Rodin right into Monster Zero's path, where Monster Zero
will kill it, I guess.
Not kill it, because he comes back later on in the movie.
Yeah, I know, but I
just
think
kind of
that
like,
was their plan to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, get Monster Zero to kill him.
So after this, Godzilla arrives and jumps out of the water to
grab King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah into the water, bites off one of his heads.
Godzilla would have won that fight 100%, but...
And
what happens?
Out of nowhere, the army comes into the network and says, we're firing an oxygen killing bomb. Weapon.
Yeah, so that's the weapon that killed Godzilla in the original.
What the hell is it?
1953. It's like some oxygen bomb thing. Like, it sucks all the air. Like, it's like a super nuke, pretty much.
Okay. So Godzilla now apparently is dead. And King Ghidorah is alive and well. We find out he's from space. Yeah. So he's good. Doesn't need oxygen. So are you okay with this not killing or affecting King Ghidorah?
Well, King Ghidorah is from space.
But what does he breathe then? He's on an Earth atmosphere. He's got to breathe something.
He breathes. Maybe he's not breathing.
Okay, that's fair. As long as is that the answer though?
I don't know.
Because it makes no sense to me.
King Ghidorah is just he breathes the blood of all the humans he kills.
Okay. So he at this point the humans realizes he's King Ghidorah because there's just happens to be this one book out of nowhere that says who he is. And King Ghidorah now awakens every single monster, and every single monster.
He's the alpha male.
Yeah, and they all the monsters around the world start destroying major cities, everywhere. We also find out that Godzilla's not actually dead. He's retreated to some hidden hideaway where it's riddled with radiation, some kind of
super radiation.
So they decide to go help him.
This is when I tapped out.
This is when you tapped out?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god, I can't believe you made
Let's
it
get to
this
the
far.
fight.
So the humans, some of them, they take a submarine down, and they can't get to this radiation part. So one human has to sacrifice himself. Ishiru, the person who has the most faith in these monsters, is going to do it. So he takes a nuclear weapon onto his back and walks up to the radiation. Somehow survives.
Takes off his mask.
Yes,
Like his face should have melted immediately.
But hold on. I'm not necessarily disappointed with that because as soon as he starts the nuke, he's dead anyway. So if he wants to walk with the mask off for cinematic effect, I don't even have issue with that.
I'm not okay with it. Like, okay, if it was that radiation, his face should have been melted.
Yeah,
if that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
But
okay.
that's what I understand. Like he could have set that. What I don't understand with this whole thing is that the suit could protect him from the radiation. Why didn't he just start the nuke and come back to the ship? Because it made it seem like the moment he got there, he was dead. Mm-hmm. But I don't understand why.
Who knows?
If it was that strong, he didn't even look like he was feeling the effects of the radiation at all.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to do cinematic effects.
Whatever.
For a character I don't care about.
So he sacrificed himself. Also, where the hell are they? They're not freaking. Are they in Atlantis? A human temple in the middle of the ocean?
They went through like those ocean vacuum.
But they're but they're in the middle of the ocean, and then there's like air to breathe down there.
Yeah, who knows where the hell they are? Well, long story short, they saved Godzilla.
And what's the hell is the purpose of this scene?
Nothing, man. This is the worst part of the movie. I just was like, they could have just skipped this whole part off, and I would have been fine. Just fire a nuke at Godzilla, and then we're good.
So they fire the nuke. Godzilla's alive again and nuked up. Meanwhile, the terrorists are in Boston, and now Emma started to have second thoughts. I don't understand why. She murdered 100 people in cold blood, but...
No, she murdered more now.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about initially to have the...
Yeah.
So maybe she's having second thoughts, because I don't even know if she is. Maybe she's just venting to the world so her daughter can hear her having these second thoughts, and she comes up with this potential plan to go to Fenway Park to release the orca to get all the monsters to stop to kill King Ghidorah and then continue with destroying the planet?
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but whatever.
Because King Ghidorah is shaping the planet in his image.
Yes, they wanted it in their image somehow. I don't.
He's an alien, man.
But they don't know that.
He's got xenophobia all over.
They don't know that. They don't know that.
No, I'm just saying they knew that he was shaping the world.
Yeah, but they don't know he's an alien.
Maybe she knows.
No, why would she know? The only people found out who King Ghidorah was were the Monarch team.
That's true. Maybe.
Anyways, the daughter somehow, Madison, is able to steal Orca and get past a dozen heavily trained guards. I think this is the worst scene in the movie.
Yeah, that's another bad one. It just gets all downhill from here.
So Maddie gets to Fenway Park. She plays Orca. All the Titans just stop. Have you figured out what it does yet? Because I haven't figured it out.
It makes them...
docile?
Yeah. It just stops them. And then it's also a homing beacon.
So all of the monsters and Monarch and Godzilla all head to Boston. And so does Emma. Emma, not wanting to lose another child, goes there herself. Leaves the group of terrorists. Now, of course, the person who's going to get there first is King Ghidorah. And somehow, Madison is able to escape Fenway Park as King Ghidorah is blowing fire through all of Fenway Park.
Not fire, he has lightning attacks.
Oh, lightning attacks. And now we also have to understand that Madison's at the top level of Fenway and is able to get down all the way to the ground floor.
Yeah, without it being destroyed.
Somehow. Okay, maybe this might be the worst scene of the movie.
Which one is this?
When she's trying to escape Fenway.
One?
I just don't understand it. How does she get away from... This is her death scene.
Yeah, that should have been.
All right, so now we get into this kind of final battle. So Godzilla appears with Monarch to attack King Ghidorah. What the hell does Monarch think they're going to be able to do in this fight scene? They have bullets! They have bloody freaking bullets! What are they going to do to King Ghidorah?
Just nuke him.
They don't have nukes!
Nuke Godzilla.
They don't have nukes. They have bullets.
Oh.
That's what they come with. Bullets.
Just believe in themselves. That's what they should do, you know?
So while Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting in the background, with what we're supposed to be watching, is Mark looking for her daughter.
No one cares about this scene.
And Emma shows up, and they go to his house, their house in Boston, and she's like hiding in the bathtub with her hand should be crushed from like
Yeah,
the
her
roof
hand should
into it.
not be on. like her hand should not be on her body.
Meanwhile, while that's going on, Godzilla is losing, but Mothra arrives and appears to kind of help. But Rodent shows up.
Fire type. Fire type Pokemon versus a bug type Pokemon.
And
it's not going to end well if you.
Rodent appears to help Ghidorah, and Mothra is able to kill Rodent. How come Mothra
stabbed him
and killed him?
No, because he's back at the end of the movie.
Is he?
He bows down to Godzilla.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I don't understand. So wait, how come Mothra listens to Godzilla, but Rodent doesn't?
Because she's the queen. They said she was like the queen of the monsters.
But how is she the queen? She's a freaking bug Pokemon.
I don't know.
How's a bug queen of anything?
Who knows? That's the name of the game.
So Mothra stabs Rodent.
Rodent is immobilized.
Ghidorah obliterates
Fainted.
Mothra. Godzilla goes nuclear and kills Ghidorah. And then Emma somehow sacrificed herself to allow Madison to be saved.
Well, to save Godzilla, she sacrificed herself.
No,
Godzilla
to save Madison.
Healing. Wasn't Godzilla healing?
No, they were all running away, but then they were all going to go on the ship and take the orca with it. But she's like, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah, I'm going to stay and take the orca with me because King Ghidorah.
But the orca would have been on the helicopter. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't give her more credit than she
I'm not saying any credit. I'm just saying she's trying to save Godzilla.
No, they would have all saved Godzilla, though. Because if they put the orca on the helicopter with Emma on it, then Ghidorah would still chase after the helicopter. It just would have killed the whole helicopter.
I thought you said that you were trying to save... Oh,
Madison.
Okay, so she's trying to save Madison.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she dies. Does this redeem her?
No.
No. She's the reason this is all happening.
Yeah, it's not. It's like Anakin Skywalker. Darth Vader can never be redeemed for what he did.
I think he's more redeemable than Emma.
I don't know. He killed a lot of kids.
Yeah, but he was manipulated at least to do bad things. She was the brain. She was the emperor of the whole thing.
Fair enough.
All right, the movie ends with all the other Titans bowing.
Emma probably killed more kids too. So.
Yeah, just a couple more. It also ends with all the Titans bowing to Godzilla and Godzilla roaring into space.
And then he shoots an atomic blast.
Now, do you like the ending of this film?
This is the worst ending ever. We get no closure to any of the
human
characters.
Nothing at all.
We get all this setup for these human characters and then no closure for them. Awesome. Great. This is amazing. This is the greatest movie of 20.
So then we get this mid-credit scene we get a bunch of news clippings, and the Titans are now apparently helping. They're growing forests, etc. Does this mean that Emma was right?
Yeah.
That oh my God, we should let the Titans destroy humanity.
Yeah, because they rebuilt.
We also see
We
also see a second Mothra egg that's discovered. We get this article that the Titans are all converging to Skull Island, and then this is the last one is of Godzilla fighting Kong. So here's a question for you that I know you're really excited to talk about. Did we get enough Kong references in this movie?
We had way too many Kong references, and he didn't even. It's like we beat us over the head. I wasn't sure if the next sequel was going to be King Kong vs. Godzilla, but now I'm definitely sure that there's going to be a sequel for that. It's pretty much just like, oh, it's going into Kong Skull Island. Oh, look, it's Kong he awoken and he's gonna go do something. Oh no, he's not. Oh, Skull Island again. Something's happening there. I'm like, what is shut up about this place. Like, if you're not gonna show the area, one reference is okay. You don't have to mention it multiple times. We get it. It's the same universe. Could you imagine watching Spider-Man and it's every 5 seconds they're talking about Captain America? Just, oh, Captain America's shield is right here. Oh, I learned from Captain America. Oh, gotta see Captain America. Oh, look, it's the Avengers Tower. Oh, my goodness. It was just, no, thank you.
Are you talking about how it's not as The references aren't as overwhelming in the
Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah, no, I think I gave my
I don't know.
point.
I'm liking the rant here. I want the rant to continue.
No, it's just I'm done with the rant. But honestly, it was just MCU is so subtle. Like in Winter Soldier, you just hear one mention of Doctor Strange. This one, and I didn't even notice it the first watch. I had to listen to it a second time to hear it. Right? King Kong, like Godzilla, is like Kong Skull Line. If you missed it the first time, you were definitely gonna hear it at least once. Where the hell is King Kong in all this? If he like he can, I'm sorry. I know you said that he was trapped on an island, but he's a freaking gorilla. And can gorillas swim?
No, they
Oh, this
cannot.
freaking. Well, he's a monster gorilla, so he definitely
And
knows
don't
how to
forget,
swim.
it's not just on an island. The island's like surrounded by some kind of like, what is that thing around it? Like that caused like all the helicopters to crash.
Yeah, he can go
It's like
through
a
it.
mist or something.
Yeah, well, he can go through it.
I don't
He's
know.
Kong.
Isn't Skull Island on like some special thing? He's a protector, right? Kong wouldn't have been bad. He's like Godzilla, a protector, so he has to stay
He's an
on
alpha.
Skull Island to protect it from something.
From what?
That's what we're gonna
Skull
find out
Island
in Godzilla
sucks.
versus. But that's what we're gonna find out in Godzilla versus Kong. Whatever's in Skull Island is going to need both of them to.
Then
to
wouldn't
defeat.
King Ghidorah just fly to Skull Island and then
Well,
fight
that
him?
would make sense. You're talking in logic. This movie doesn't have any logic.
All right.
We're putting the logic in after. All right. Then we have the end credit scene where Jonah and the terrorists now find Ghidorah's head or decapitated head from Mexico. Is Ghidorah alive? Can he be
I have no idea. I don't know that much about King Ghidorah. I just know he's a space creature,
Okay.
and
Well, we'll
he's
find out in the next.
and he's like the main protagonist for Godzilla.
Fair enough. So I guess the major question I have is this movie ruined by humans?
Yeah, 100%.
I think we talked a lot about that.
Yeah, no one cares about the freaking human characters. Everyone only cared about the monsters. I think everyone's gonna say my favorite part is when the monsters are on the screen.
Yeah, I agree. Just one more question before we go into our ratings, unless you have any questions. Why do you think they chose to make a 15-year-old the lead character in this movie?
I don't know.
Because
I
we
guess
haven't really, we kind of
get the
only
kids.
slightly talked about it, but let's be honest. What's her face? Millie Bobby Brown, the girl who plays Madison, has probably the largest role other than Mark in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the quote unquote hero by going to Fenway Park.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do. Honestly, this is Scott's Transformers written all over it. To be honest, get the young high school teen character, all the monsters, blah blah blah. This movie sucks. Don't follow the Transformers formula because it does not work.
Yep. Fair enough.
Follow a successful formula. Don't follow a crap formula. Like what
how,
is
how many 15-year-olds are in the MCU?
one?
Well, all of his friends.
Yeah, well, like the Spider-Man. That's about it.
Yep. Touche. All right. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, this
for the
movie's-
record, I just agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Like everything you said about Millie Bobby Brown, don't follow the Transformer formula.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions you have?
No.
All right. What's your rating?
I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10.
And just for all the reasons we talked about.
All the reasons we talked about. The only good thing is the visual effects and the monsters. If it wasn't for that, this would be unwatchable.
You know, it's funny. That's my exact rating and my exact reason. This is a disaster of a movie. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10, specifically for some of the special effects and some of the teasers that we get of these monster battles.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it.
Yeah. Other than that, don't watch. Just go on YouTube and watch the fight scenes, and then you're good.
All right, let's move on to our next movie, Rocketman. Would you like to start with how big of an Elton John fan are you?
I only knew 2 songs by him.
What? You know Elton John sold more albums in the 1970s than anybody else. Nobody sold
crazy.
more albums in that decade than Elton John.
That's amazing.
No, I know it's amazing. He's
But
phenomenal.
I really liked disco, so I listened to more disco from the 70s, to be honest.
All right, give us your opening thoughts.
But so Rocketman, interesting take. I had no idea. So I had no idea that this was gonna be a musical. There was no hint at it in the trailer or anything like that. So that was very. I was like, when they first come in, I'm like, what's going on? And then I just see a song. I'm like, what? Oh, okay, it's this kind of movie, and it was nice. Uh, I like the. I always like a biopic that makes me want to learn more about the character. So now I'm a little bit more of an Elton John fan, and I want to go listen to some more songs and learn more about him. And from his like, I don't know how much of his past is true, but honestly, the stuff that was said to him as a child and as an adult, wow, he's a very strong player. I'm glad to see how far he's come. So that's my opening thoughts.
Now, unlike you, I'm a huge Elton John fan. I love Elton John. I was lucky enough to see him in Las Vegas a couple years ago, and he puts on a show. Even at like probably 60 when he probably in his early 60s when I saw him. So for me, it was going to be really hard not to like this movie. Because my thought process was at the worst case scenario was the music's going to be good, so I'm just going to be listening to some Elton John music. And overall, I would say that I really enjoyed this film. I learned a lot about his life, his addictions, and his music together. And I like the direction this movie chose to take. This is not your typical biopic like you would get in Bo Rap or like you would get with like Walk the Line or some of those other movies. Elton John, who is always a little bit more out there, chose to make his biopic a little out there as well. And he chose to make it more of a fantasy musical, which I think really really works. Now that being said, this movie's not perfect. It's missing plot development. It leaves us with not understanding sometimes if this is real or if this is real or not. It leaves us with unanswered questions with characters and development like that. Now, we just finished watching this movie, so my review isn't going to be perfect in terms of time. I haven't done my research to see what's real and what's not in the film. But overall, I really liked it. I thought Taron Egerton did a really good job, and I was kind of iffy on it. But Elton John handpicked him to be this character to play him, and he did not want to use like his own voice to sing the music. He wanted Taron to sing for him because he didn't want the person to be like him. Again, this is more of a fantasy musical, so I really enjoyed it. All right, let's go into it. So the movie begins with him entering rehab. And it kind of starts talking about his childhood, the person leading the discussion asks him about his childhood, and he had a rough childhood.
Yeah.
His dad was an absentee father who wasn't very loving.
Yeah, didn't say anything.
Nope.
Just did not even communicate with him. Didn't even bother.
And
It
his
looked like
mom was cold as ice, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. But my first question is: did you like the opening sequence with the rehab?
At the beginning, I didn't like it, but as by the end of the movie, I was like, I liked how it all brought it up together. It was good. It was really good. It's something I didn't like initially, but then as it got on, I'm like, this is actually really good. It makes more sense now.
To me, it's brilliant. It was brilliant from the first moment I saw it because it became clear when he's talking about his childhood. It starts with one of his songs. So what this allows them to do is the music's all out of place in this movie. Songs are not told when they would have come out. But to me, adding this in this rehab, this is Elton John in 1990 when he's in rehab telling the story of his life. And everyone knows who Elton John is, so he's using his songs to tell the story. So it doesn't matter if it came out at that time or not. It allows him to use his music to tell the story. The first example I really noticed is Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. And he's playing that as like an 8-year-old. Which wouldn't make sense. Like, well, that's not really. He didn't write that song when he was a kid, but because he's telling the story to rehab or from rehab, now he's just trying to get everyone to understand who he is using a song that they would understand. And moreover than that, it allows us to skip through times. It allows us to tell the story not 100% because he's telling the story as he remembers it, and he might not remember it 100%. So I think it does a really good job with allowing the way the story is going to be told to keep it a little bit fictitious and to make it more of a musical, right? And that's what it wants to be, right? It wants to be a musical. Whereas like Bohemian Rhapsody is not really a musical. It's the story of Freddie Mercury, and the songs are just played in as they're being developed in his life.
Interesting take.
So, what are your thoughts on the parent
Oh,
or the parents? Parents,
Oh.
sorry, parents, not parent.
Terrible parents, the worst parents. Like, I'll get into some of the stuff that's said. Like, you cannot say that to your child, and like, you can't even. Honestly, the things that he went through, it's no wonder he did every drug known to man and gave in to his demons. You know, people find escapism is key, right? People find healthy ways to escape, like maybe playing a video game. Some people want to get loose off the goose, which is not always the healthy decision if you want to have escapism, right?
Well, yeah, and it's funny because like the mom is like completely all about her, right? She's
Yeah.
completely selfish in her own world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he wants to do like piano lessons, like no, I'm too busy for you.
Yeah.
Like it tells him later on that you're a burden. Like you're telling your kid you're a burden, and this is at the point where he's worth like
Millions.
$50 million, and she's asking him to buy her a villa.
Yeah.
But you're the burden on me, son. May I please Can you buy me a villa in Spain? By the way, you're a burden. What?
Yeah.
Her life is so good. She's traveling. She lives a life of luxury because your son pays for everything for you.
Yeah.
But he's a burden. At 5, okay, you're a burden. I get it. But you don't say that when you're making millions of
When your
dollars.
son's pretty much paying for everything for you, and you're just living the good life.
She has the nerve to tell me you'll never find love too.
Yeah.
You'll never find love.
And on top of that, if it wasn't for the grandmother, maybe he would have found another way. But like, she didn't even want to take him to get to that school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
No, like it's no wonder he has issues. Like your mother is supposed to be like your rock,
yeah,
and
he
nothing.
has no one to confide in and tell his problems to. That's another thing.
And your dad, like the dad, he just like I just want a hug. Nope, no hug for you.
Yeah, no hug. Don't touch my stuff.
Don't touch all my stuff.
Don't touch my music.
Do your own thing. You're creepy. Oh, don't open that magazine. Don't do this.
You're not a girl. Don't look at that.
And then the worst part of to me, the most emotional scene in the movie is after Elton's made it and he's made all of his money and he's going to visit his dad, and his dad is now remarried with 2 kids, and the dad just hugs and shows all this love to these other 2 kids.
Yeah.
And the dad, you could just see how Elton's like really emotional. Like, I never got a hug.
Yeah.
And like
His dad left and didn't even say goodbye to him.
nothing. And then he's like I got tickets for my show in London. Oh, I don't like that kind of music. What? And then it's like, can you sign this record? So he signs it to dad. No, I'm sorry, Elton. Not son. I'm sorry, Elton. This is for my friend Arthur. Can you sign it to Arthur? Mm-hmm. Like, what?
Yeah, no.
No wonder you turn to alcohol.
A lot
and
of
drugs.
a lot of people used him. Like, that's the thing, right? He seemed to be like a given person, right? Because he never had that love, never had affection, so he just only knew how to give. And unfortunately, the people that were there just only knew how to take.
And in
It's a recurrent theme.
The bare minimum research I did after, like, that's how his parents were. Like,
Wow.
apparently Bryce Dallas Howard, who plays the mom, was like, oh, she can't be that bad. So she did her own research, and like anyone who knew her, and apparently she died like at 92 in like 2008. Like,
Wow.
and apparently they had stopped like her and Elton had stopped talking because Elton cut her out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she never met his grandkid or his 2 kids that they adopted.
Wow.
And basically, his 2 children. She never met, and basically anyone that knew her said like she was like a horrible human being.
Wow.
So,
Jeez. That's not.
anyways,
Wow. Well,
So
Just the
somehow,
things he said is really that's even worse.
he's also like this prodigy. Like he can hear a song and able to
And
recreate it on
mimic
the
it.
piano. And he gets his break when he meets Bernie. And Bernie is a writer, so he goes into this audition for a company looking for talent, and is playing this piano, and this guy, Ray Williams, who works for him, just basically likes what he hears. Like here, he gives him just a name to go with. I think it's actually more planned than it is in the movie. And he looks at the music, calls Bernie over, and they hit it off immediately. Um, he will eventually change his name to Elton John. Unlike the movie, it is not for John Lennon.
Did someone tell him to kill the person he was supposed to be to become?
Yep.
So that actually did happen.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, you got he was shy, right? Like that's not fault about him. So the first song that we get is the hit in the movie is Your Song, which is probably my second favorite Elton John song. I love it. It's a great ballad, and because of that, he's able to go to the States. Like he gets the label that he works for, Dick James, is the kind of the main head of it. Sends him to the U.S. to kind of go on tour.
Get the party.
And he goes to the Troubadour Club, and he performs Crocodile Rock, which was again 2 years too early. It came out in 1972. That his trip to the States was 1970. But again, this kind of shows us that he's telling the story through how they would know him. Then at that night he meets John Reed, which again not that night when he would meet him. But like Bohemian Rhapsody, John Reed manipulates Elton John by being a love interest.
Yeah.
So in in Bohemian Rhapsody, it was, what was his name? Paul. Paul was the guy that manipulated Freddie Mercury by like using sex to manipulate.
Yeah.
In this movie, in Elton's life, it's John Reed, and Reed basically pushes Elton away from everyone he likes and loves. First, he gets him away from Dick James and Ray Williams. Then he kind of pushes him away from his family, even though they family kind of did it to themselves too.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's probably better. Even though he's still kind of a scumbag, it's still better to probably not be, except for his grandmother. His grandmother is the only person that only seemed like a ray of sunshine.
Then he kind of gets like he has not a feud, but Bernie kind of leaves him too.
Yeah.
And then he's on his own. And what does he turn to? Sex, cocaine, and alcohol.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
And
that's pretty much what he does.
But like that's it. He even tells his mother that he sleeps with anyone that can move. He's probably slept with everybody.
Yeah. He's like, I've done every drug known to man.
So I've slept with anyone. I drink all of the time.
Yeah.
So he's a cry for help waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And in fact, at one point in real life, it's 1975. In the movie, they kind of gape everything between 1970 and 1990 kind of together. Like we don't know what happens when, but he tries to kill himself. I think. Yeah. Like I had to actually check that out because I was not sure. Like he like tried to kill himself, and then he went to like a concert in Los Angeles, but apparently he just OD'd. He didn't. Yeah. It wasn't at trying to kill himself like you would see in the movie. So again, it's because they're telling the story through rehab. It's his cry for help. He's telling you in the way he would have seen it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go up and try to jump in a pool and try to OD. I drank it all and
laid
down, but that's my cry for help. This is what I was trying to do. I was trying to tell the entire party that I need help. Right? And that's what I like about the movie. It can do that.
Yeah. It gives you lots of open to see what's real, what's not, you know.
And as he's being carted out of his house, John Reed's like, "You're going to work. Like, what are you doing? You're embarrassing me."
He's like, "You're so sick. Like, what is wrong?"
He makes him go right back on stage, and then he has like a heart like attack or like a heart murmur or something like that. And it's like, "Don't worry, Elton will be there tonight."
Mm-hmm.
How good does Richard Madden, aka Rob Stark. How good is he at playing this business manager?
It's pretty good. I really liked it. He total scumbag. Like the people in his life were not portrayed good. I'm pretty sure. I'm
Other than
fairly sure.
Bernie.
Yeah, if his mother saw that, she's suing for sure. Maybe the dad too. Who
Well, you have to prove that you weren't like that though.
knows? Yeah.
But yeah, I think Richard Madden was fantastic as that. Like,
Mhm.
he seemed like this cool person who cared, but he was just like everyone else, using him. And like,
I always
can
thought
only
he was the better actor than Jon Snow. He probably should have been Jon Snow, to be honest.
I find it funny. Like, it just goes to show you, like, this movie and Bohemian Rhapsody, that you really need to, when you're that big, to put yourself around people you can actually trust.
Yeah.
Because it really goes to show you how people can be manipulated.
Well, that's the problem with humans, right? Everyone has their own agenda,
I know.
especially people you just meet.
And John made his living on Elton John. Like,
Yeah. That's pretty much all he made. He made his whole life off of Elton
yeah,
John.
20%, right? That's
Mhm.
the big thing. Do we get too much sex and drugs and his other issues in this movie?
I don't think so. But you want to see the emphasis because this is where it's telling his story of what he went through and now how he overcame it. So this is really helpful I can see this movie helping people that are not as famous, but like people that are going through rough times in life and giving into their inner demons. This is a good way to show them that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, you can get through this.
I think that's a big part of this movie, but I also think this is Elton's movie about his coming to terms with himself and
Yeah.
him about it. To me, this movie's about Elton loving himself, and the reason why he was, or at least the reason he thinks he turned to drugs, sex, and alcohol was because he didn't love himself. He didn't love who he
Yeah.
was, and he used those things to kind of try to ease his pain. So I think you needed it. I think you needed as much of it as possible. This movie wasn't about his ability
Music or
to
his
music.
legacy.
It wasn't about that. It was about
No.
him coming to terms with loving yourself. And I think you do a really good job articulating that it's good for other people to see that hey, look, I made $70 million or whatever he was worth, or I'm worth $70 million in 1990, but I still had issues. And my issues aren't because I loved to party. My issues were because people took advantage of me, people didn't love me, and I thought that I wasn't worthy. Even though I had all this money, even though people said they loved me, I didn't think I was worth it.
Yeah, you got to get rid of all the toxicity in your life,
So
like what I did.
yeah, exactly. So just before a show in New York City, Elton turns himself into rehab, and this is not real. He did it in London after he befriended a kid who had AIDS, and that's what pushed him over the top. So he did not leave his show before New York City. He did not enter rehab before a New York City show.
Okay.
And then we
Yeah,
get
you have to be crazy to do that.
yeah, and then we get to see him, get better, right? We see him now out of his persona and into more of just like a normal kind of outfit and
Yeah.
just telling his story. And we get to see him talk to everyone in his life, like his dad, his mom, his stepdad, Bernie, Paul, not Paul, sorry,
Mr. Reed.
John Reed, yep. And he gets to say what he wants to say to each
Yeah.
one of them.
Gets his closure.
And then he sees himself as a kid. And the kid asks him the same question that he asked his dad. Can I have a hug? And Elton gets down and gives his younger self a hug, symbolizing that he's coming to terms with loving himself.
Yes, beautiful symbolism.
Do you like the fact that he talked to every member like in this moment instead of like outside with a little crawl about what happened with each person?
No, this was better. I liked it better.
It was so good because I viewed it as not only talking to him in his head or in this circle of trust, but talking to them in real life too. That's what he would have said to them when he would have had their first words with them.
Yeah, when they had their discussion, he probably would have said it all to them. Like, they probably all kind of visited him, I guess, out of like necessity. And then I'm assuming a little bit more, but yeah, I feel that's what would happen.
I really like this scene because I think it puts the whole movie in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's about loving yourself, and as I've said, like this scene really emphasizes it,
Mm-hmm.
gets him to pushes him over the top. And then we get the ending. We see Bernie giving some lyrics. He gets out of rehab and gets back to his music, and we get the video for "I'm Still Standing," the actual music video. But like most things, the song really works for that part of the movie. But
Mm-hmm.
that song came out in 1983.
Yeah, figured. It's a nice song though. I liked it. I think that was my favorite song of the whole
Really?
movie.
I was gonna. So you didn't
But
know.
I think more because of the ending of the movie.
Hmm.
So that may have been why.
So you don't know Elton John. So I would ask you if there's a song that they didn't play that you really liked.
Yeah. No, they played Rocketman, and I liked that song.
Yeah. My favorite Elton John song was not played in the movie.
Which one is it?
Candle in the Wind.
Candle in the Wind.
I love that song. It's about Marilyn Monroe. It's so good. They play my next two favorite songs. They play Crocodile Rock and Your Song. Those are probably my top three. So it was unfortunate I didn't get to see Candle or hear Candle in the Wind, but he is so, and it's one of those things like you know how many songs he has, but like you forget about them and you see them all in this movie like, oh my god, that's right, he sings that. I love it. Oh, so good. Were there any sorry. Are you okay with the fact that time and reality was shuffled in this movie?
Yeah, it's like he had the reality stone, and he warped it. I was okay with it. I liked how it kind of turned to what's it called? It accelerated time. It helped drive the story with the music. It was very good. It was very telling. I thought that was very creative.
And like I said, it really helps you with that perspective. I'm okay with it because of how they told the story. It's him telling his story from rehab. Things are going to be juggled, right? They're not linear, right? When you're telling us your life story, you're not going to be necessarily linear with it, especially when you're looking for help. This isn't about This isn't me telling you, a reporter, my life story. This is me trying to figure out what's wrong with me, and I'm gonna have a. I'm also going to be probably drugged up and high and drunk through most of it. So maybe I don't remember it as much as I should. This isn't a biopic, right?
Yeah.
Um, what did the movie leave you wondering?
I was wondering what happened to his family. Uh, Pretty much. I knew he's still alive, so I'm like, okay, so he's not a madman anymore, or like I didn't even know anything about Elton. I didn't even know he went through that. Like he had all those drugs. I was like, that's insane. But yeah, I just wanted to know more, like what happened to like his mother and his other family members, and like how his dad treated him and everything like that.
I really wanted to know what happened with his family. So his mom, like I said, they didn't talk to his mom for years until like she was like 92, and then she died. No good relationship with the dad or the mom. Apparently, with the stepdad Fred though, good relationship.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, he always seemed the more supportive out of all of them, and he was the stepdad.
I would have liked to know more about his time at the Royal Academy. Apparently, like he just left because he liked rock and roll. But I would have liked to see more of that.
Yeah, they only hinted at it because they saw him play a little bit like dancing, and then the woman stared at him, and then after that,
I would have liked to know what would happen with John Reed, like how he got out. Did he get out from under his thumb completely? Did he like leave? Did he go work with someone else? Like I would have liked to know more about that. And lastly, I wanted to know more with the grandma because to me that was the only support system. And I found out something interesting, like in the research that I kind of did. So he sent a bouquet of flowers to her every week until she died. She died in 1995 in February, a week before he won the Academy Award for "Can You Feel the Love Tonight," and he thanked he thanked her in that speech.
wow, that's so sad, but that's beautiful at the same time. You
Yeah.
know? See, that's all you tell. It was the only positive influence. Her and Bernard, pretty much. Bernie, sorry.
All right, I have one more question, then I'm done with this. Who do you want to see Who do you want to see a biopic of next?
I have a question.
Sure.
Did they talk about the fact that he brought John Lennon and Yoko Ono back together?
The question for those who might not be able to hear it was: did they talk about John Lennon or Yoko? They did not talk about the Beatles. This was not. This was a story about his drug and alcohol and sex addiction.
So they did indicate John Lennon by way of the picture that he saw behind the guy's desk, taking the name John.
Yeah, that's it.
So why wouldn't they take something like something important? It seems like it's a pity party movie to me.
No, but so he's asking why they didn't. It seems like a pity party movie. It is. That's the whole point of the movie.
Okay.
It's supposed to be like that, and it wouldn't have worked otherwise. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
Who cares about? I would just argue who cares about
do you realize
John Lennon and Yoko Ono getting back together?
Do you realize he was good friends with John Lennon, and the only song he will not do outside is Johnny's Garden, which was a tribute to a very good friend of his, John Lennon, when he was assassinated.
So he's talking about how he would never do the song with John Lennon again. Again, not the point of the movie. This is not what the movie is not about John Lennon. This is not John Lennon's biopic. This isn't a biopic on Elton John's life. This is about his addiction and about getting better. And again, I don't think that's an important aspect of his life anyway. Like he probably has a lot of cool and friends. He's Elton John. He sold more albums in the 70s than anyone else.
Do you think he hooked up with Freddie Mercury?
Maybe. Actually, that's a good question. I mean, they have to be. They're both English bands. They have to be in the same circles.
Known each other. They must have partied.
That's the
together.
thing, right? Like I get what you're saying. Like, why didn't he talk? Why didn't he focus on John Lennon? Because that's only one aspect of his life. So
it's not the focusing. It's the one song he refuses to sing at any concert.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
And it was a top 10 hit.
But that makes sense why it wouldn't be in the movie either, because he doesn't want the song being played.
Good point.
Out of respect. So, the next biopic you want to see?
The next biopic I want to see.
I have one.
Probably, I kind of want to see Prince. I want to see a Prince biopic. I want to see maybe like Diana Ross, maybe something. That'd be interesting.
They kind of did though, like
Dreamgirls
is kind of the supreme story.
Mm-hmm. That's true. One of those, maybe those two. What about you?
The Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones. Oh,
there's a lot of good music there in the Rolling Stones.
I'd have a lot. I love biopics. There's so many. Good. As
long as you tell them from the right perspective, they can be very, very good.
Even like athletes, maybe like a nice Muhammad Ali movie.
They've made tons of Muhammad Ali movies.
Yeah, well, I want to see a good one.
The one with Will Smith was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
and Best Actor.
Jamie Foxx won a Grammy. I mean, not a Grammy, an Oscar for it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some stuff going on there.
That was Will Smith.
No, he didn't win.
Will Smith didn't win. Jamie Foxx won
for the song.
Supporting actor.
Oh, supporting actor.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything else you want to talk about with this movie?
No, let's move it on. Move it on up, baby.
So, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 8.5 out of 10.
It's like we're sharing notes today. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10 too.
Actually, you're just copying me.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing today. I'm just copying you. All right. You ready to move on to our top 10 monster movies?
Yep. Let's get her done.
I'm very excited. So before we get started, my reasoning behind this list are they have to be villains, the monster. They have to kill people, and they have to be some kind of like hunter. Like I want it to be like a hunting situation. Yeah. Like that's what I'm looking for in this.
Okay.
All right. So, I think you started last time.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I will give you my 10th movie first. So my 10th movie is Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992. Now, this is an all-star cast. We're talking Gary Oldman, who plays Dracula, Anthony Hopkins, who plays Van Helsing, Winona Ryder's in it, Keanu Reeves is in it. Like this is
wow.
This is fantastic. This is the best solely Dracula movie I think I've ever seen. It's Dracula how he should be. Dracula is the villain. He is bad. He follows the right protocols that Dracula would have. It follows the book to a T. They don't make Dracula movies like this. They don't make vampire movies like this anymore. Vampires have to shine now.
Yeah.
I want to go back to old school Dracula, and every time I watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, I get a sense of this is how it should be.
Or Blade.
No, Blade's silver. Blade, they killed vampires with silver in Blade.
Yeah.
That's a werewolf.
And light.
But light kills vampires
Light.
everywhere.
The power
I'm
of the
talking about the
light.
difference between like a real vampire and a fake vampire.
Okay.
All right, your number 10 movie.
My number 10 movie is Resident Evil Afterlife.
The second one?
That's the fourth one? Fourth one, yeah.
Okay.
This is the fourth one. This one has Albert Wesker. Obviously, got plenty of monsters that you can beat, but I just liked it because this is the introduction of the beasts, dealing with all the zombies and nonsense. Honestly, this is my throwaway pick. It's very hard finding actually top 10, so I just put this one in because it was my favorite.
You had a
one.
hard time. I had it like down to 19. I had to make some cuts.
Well, no, I had a hard time making this list.
Maybe you got to watch more movies. You ever think of that?
Number 9 is Kong Skull Island.
You
I
must have
know
been really desperate if you have that on your list.
I liked it. It was pretty decent. Samuel L. Jackson, he was great in it as always.
He's not good in it. We had this conversation about how like he makes no sense.
Yeah, but it was funny. The
All
stuff he
right.
said was funny.
All right.
Like he always
Stop
plays
interrupting you.
his character. His characters doesn't make sense. Even if the character's written bad, he'll finds a way to make it work. That's just Samuel L. Jackson, right? Very good. The monsters were pretty scary, killing a bunch of people, and then Kong's the hero. So we got 2 monsters: a hero monster and 2 bad hunted monsters. All right. Your turn.
That was your 9.
Yeah, that's
All
number
right.
9.
My number 9 movie is Aliens, the 1986 sequel to the movie Alien. James Cameron, I think this is like his first like amazing movie. Like James Cameron has a great track record. Like he does Aliens, he does the two Terminator movies, Titanic and Avatar. Like and True Lies. He's on point. And Aliens is the best movie in the franchise. It starts off with Ripley in stasis for 57 years. When she gets back to Earth, no one believes what she went through. They think that she abandoned the ship and killed everyone. So they want to go back. They want to terraform the planet, and they kind of convince her to go back. Then when they get back, the shit hits the fan.
Yep.
There's some great action in this movie. The young girl in that movie, she never did anything after. I thought she was fantastic. I'm surprised she didn't do anything after. The character development is great. It's fantastic. I don't have much to say about it other than that. My number 8 movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street. The original A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, not the remake with I don't know who, but the one with Robert Englund. And this is Freddy Krueger's first movie. It's also Johnny Depp's first movie, ironically.
Whoa.
It is the epitome of creepy. Nah, not scary at all. It's hilarious. This is, like, the villain Freddy Krueger. Like, Robert Englund is fantastic. He is iconic as it, right? The wit that he brings to the character as he's hunting them down in his dreams. The concept of a killer that kills you when you're sleeping. Like, that is fantastic. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. It's so
You can't
good.
even lock your door, though. It's in your dreams.
I know, it's the song. Jeez, the 2 creepy
Song
girls.
sucks.
It's not a song. It's like they're playing skipping rope. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, better stay up late. 9,
makes
10,
sense. That
never
stops
sleep
him.
again.
Yeah, see that helps him, but not closing your door.
Anyway,
Unless you're
Nancy
brain
as a
dead.
main character was fantastic. There were some great sequences in this movie. The death scene when she's floating in the sky and like she's getting like cut apart and they think the boyfriend did it. So creepy. And the bathtub scene where she's like lying in the bathtub and you see the hand come out. How many movies have ripped that off?
A bunch.
And then like
And
they
they
grab
still
her.
do.
It's so good. So fantastic. Love it. Anyway, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is A Quiet Place. So, I liked this movie. It was nice, the little alien hunter things. The only thing that was weird is the end, when they decide to fight the thing. I don't know what's going to happen after that. Who knows what happens, but sorry, my phone went off. And but yeah, it was a great movie. John Krasinski directed and wrote it, and I thought this was a very good. I think this is his debut director role,
Yep.
right? Pretty good, pretty decent, very very decent for a first time. And my number 7 is Alien with Ridley Scott. Yes,
Well-
I seen a movie from the 70s. Actually, I've seen a lot of
I was
movies
gonna-
from the 70s.
Godfather's like 7 years
I
earlier.
think I've seen more movies from the 70s than the 80s.
Oh my
I'm a
god, the
70s
80s
guy.
is such a good.
I think
Oh.
I'm like, if I had to pick a time zone, I think 70s is the one they should have dropped me in.
I'm
To
not
be
gonna lie,
honest.
70s is like one of my least favorite decades for movies.
It's my
True
favorite for
story.
movies and music. But anyways, back to the
Clearly not. You don't like you don't listen to Elton John, who was the
was the
most
one Elton-
decorated
yeah,
singer.
but I
he's
told
the
you I listened
mo-
to disco. That's when disco
Yeah.
was very popular. So
Boney
shut
M.
Donna
You listen to some
Summers.
Boney M?
What?
Listen to some Boney M?
Boney M. Boney M. Rhapsody.
No. Boney M. Boney space M.
Never
The
heard of.
Christmas album is the only
Rasputin.
famous thing.
Rah rah Rasputin lover. No. That's disco. That's like the heart of disco. Anyway, go ahead.
It's
Tell
not
me.
the heart of disco.
Tell me about Alien.
It's September, but shut up. But okay, so back to the Alien. Amazing. One of the greatest designed monsters probably ever. I was like, this. When you look at it, it seems hopeless as they're trying to discover like all its little things. Even the moment when it just explodes from the chest, which is like one of the most iconic scenes ever. Everyone's just like, oh, what is his name? I think was it John Hurt or
John Hurt.
I got it. Woo! Yeah, John Hurt just, and you're like, what is going on here? Just such an amazing and iconic movie, and then gets ruined. Well, not from the second one, but after that, it's all downhill from here, baby.
Well, it's your turn for 6, but Alien was number. Alien was number.
It's your turn for 6. I did A Quiet Place and Alien.
Oh right, Quiet Place. Alien was number 11 on my list. It's my
Wow, that's close.
honorary mention. All right, my number 7 movie. I'm gonna preface this a little bit by saying that I know it's not a good movie. I know it's
Oh,
not
God,
good.
Here we go.
I
think I know what it is.
There's something about it. I'm a big Hugh Jackman fan, and I think that's a big part of what I like about it.
Oh.
But it's 2004's Van Helsing. Look, I know it's not great. I understand that. But I never understood why people think it was so bad or so badly received. Look, I understand that it could have been much better. I'll be the first to tell you that there was so much potential for this movie to be great. I like Van Helsing as a warrior concept in the 1800s, fighting for the Vatican. I thought it was a very interesting concept. I love the fact that we see the werewolves working with the vamps and Dracula in charge of everything. I like how we see Frankenstein as the good character, because that's what he is. He's supposed to be a good character. It's right out of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. He's supposed to be good. I understand that it could have been better. That the ending was where Van Helsing was a vampire, but there's still so much better potential. There's some really good sequences in this movie. Kate Beckinsale's in it. She was really good in it. They get Dracula right. Dracula's a villain. And I think part of the reason why this movie has continued to grow on me is the more I see vampire movies today, as bad as this movie might have been in 2004, the fact that vampires have taken such a negative plunge in terms of how they're portrayed, it makes me feel like this movie's better than what it was.
I think it's only the Twilight that has the bad portrayal of bad vampires.
Vampire Diaries.
Oh, I don't even watch. That doesn't even count.
I'm just saying, you give me something that vampires have been done right in the last 5 years.
There hasn't been anything yet. Oh. What's that movie called? Underworld.
Yeah, how are they?
They're great.
They're not good. You admit they're bad too. Like, at least I admitted this movie. I didn't say it's a great movie. I just
No,
said
it's
I
a
like
bad.
it.
Oh, I thought you meant how are the vampires? I thought the vampires were great in it.
They're okay. They're okay. All right, my number 6 movie is 2012's The Cabin in the Woods. We want to talk about original movies. In the last decade, this is probably one of the most original movies ever. You're talking when you see the preview to this movie, they keep that third act hidden, and it makes it seem like it's just your typical slasher movie. It's all it is. You're just gonna go watch someone get slashed to death, but no. We have a group of controllers that are watching everything that's going on in this slasher movie, quote unquote. And we have this idea that there has to be 5 teens. We have to have the whore, the athlete, the scholar, the virgin, and this I forget who the 5th is. But either way, all 5 of them have to be there, and they all must die. With the virgin being the last one. Your typical slasher movie. Mm-hmm. And they get a random monster. Like just some random monster that comes in. In this one, we get I think it's the zombies in the cabin in the woods that come after them, and 2 characters
Zombies.
The 2 characters are able to escape all the carnage, and then we get this huge third act where they release every monster in this control room thing. They overrun everything. Everyone dies, and then Sigourney Weaver shows up in the end and says, "Listen, if you 2 don't die, the Earth gets destroyed." And they're like, "Screw it." And then the Earth gets destroyed. It's so original. Like, you didn't
That's
see
pretty
any...
funny.
You've never seen The Cabin in the Woods?
No, I haven't. I keep meaning to.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Destroy the world.
That's my number 6.
Okay. Is now your number 5? Oh, yeah,
my...
7 and... Oh, yeah, okay. So my number 6 is The Monster Squad, which is I recently watched. I freaking love this film. It's one of the Dracula is done right?
He is.
Frankenstein is a hero. It's just a good kids movie that wasn't afraid to be what it was. Took a big risk, and now it has more of a cult following than it does beforehand. If you want to know more about how I feel about the movie, listen to our
last week's
podcast. All right, and my number 5 movie is It 2000. Was it 17?
2017, yeah.
Yeah, It 2017. Love this movie. It's one of those. It brings the feel of the 80s. The 80s feel back. The kids actually sound like how kids would talk. The villain is amazing in it, and it's just a movie that's done well. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the sequel that comes out this year, but we'll see what happens. Great movie.
My number 5 movie is 2001's The Mummy Returns.
Oh, you have... Sorry, never mind.
And it's just as fun as the original was. It takes place like 8 to 10 years later, and it doesn't follow the stupid traditional weak writing sequels that you normally get. We don't have Evie and Rick
break up
and they have to get back together. They are happily married, they're in love, and they have a kid. like they closed the story arc of the first movie and created a brand new second one. The story makes sense. The story evolves. It builds on the first one. We get some great action sequences. The London bus scene where like Rick sees all of the mummies and says, "Oh, not these guys again." And they get on the bus and they have this shotgun scene and like, oh, it's so good.
That was Brandon Fraser when he was the dude.
He was the dude. He had like a 5-year span where he could do no wrong.
Yeah.
And then he disappeared from the face of the earth.
But yeah, he's Canadian too.
Yeah. No, I really like The Mummy Returns. I thought that was a fantastic movie. Rachel Weisz is one of my favorites. The guy who plays Jonathan is great too. Yeah. And I really think that the guy who plays the Magi leader, I don't remember his name, but I thought he would have been a great Jafar. Like he has that look to be like kind of exactly how I see Jafar if he grew that little mustache. My number 4 movie. All right, listen again. I know it's a horrible movie.
If this is what I think it is.
This is my guilty monster movie pleasure. All right, it's a guilty pleasure. It is. I can't explain to you quite in words how much I really like this movie. I'll try my best. I know this movie is not a great movie though. So before you all go yelling at me, I know it's not great. It's just a guilty pleasure. And it's 1998's Godzilla.
Fake Zilla. That is not the real Godzilla.
It's still better than the Godzilla we just watched.
It's still fake.
I've always enjoyed watching this movie. I watched this movie again last year, like early last year, and I just remember to be like, "Yep, I still like it." I love Matthew Broderick. I loved his character in this movie, but more importantly, Jean Reno is like he will always be the guy from Godzilla for me. It doesn't matter what else he does. I saw Leon the Professional, which made him famous. I'm like, it's the guy from Godzilla. I love this movie. It's a different take on Godzilla from other versions we had. It's not about destruction. It's not about that at all, what you get in that kind of movie. It's about giving birth. Godzilla's misunderstood. I think Hank Azaria is hilarious. There's a lot of bias for me in this movie. Had this movie came out today, maybe I have a very different view on it. There's a lot of nostalgia. When this movie came out, I was 13 years old, and this was the Godzilla movie of the time. If you came out now, okay, this still be a better Godzilla movie. But I like the scale of the film. Unlike our current movie that had 17 different monsters, this one had one. Right?
No, it had the babies.
Yeah, like it did, I guess. But they're not really... There's no destruction with them, right? They're babies. They don't cause destruction. Like, you watch, like, the first Godzilla movie from 2014, and you had 3 different monsters destroy, like, 5 cities on the planet. This movie had 17 monsters that destroyed, like...
Well, they weren't big yet, but...
That's my point, right?
Yeah.
There's so much destruction. New York City. So much destruction. And I don't like that. You know I don't like that about a movie. And I like the scale of this one. I liked it. It was good. There's some good sequences too. The scene through New York where like the 2 airplanes are trying to shoot at Godzilla and one misses and it hits the Chrysler building and the mayor's like, "That's the goddamn Chrysler building." It's good. I liked it. Anyway, that was my number 4.
Interesting. So my number 4 is The Mummy Returns. So I like it for everything that Fooch says. Not gonna lie, I don't care what anybody says. The Mummy, like, that's the nostalgia for me. So I'm okay with that. The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, very good, very great films. I love the second one. Pretty much as Fooch. I'll just second everything you said. You did a good job explaining it. And my number 3 is Aliens. So it's the same boat as Fooch. I just love the Alien movies. It's just something I can watch over and over again. You know, it's just I love it. They managed to make a sequel that's just like not. It's bigger, yes, but it's bigger done well. You know, more action, right? It's not just like, okay, we're introduced to this one xenomorph. What happens if we have more? And James Cameron, like you said, good track record. This man put aliens on the map, and then
It was ruined.
and then it got plummeted to oblivion.
Well, you don't love the Prometheus movies?
No, thank you. That's a big no, thank you from me.
No, thank you. A hard pass.
Yes. All right. We'll.
Is that my 3? Are you done?
Yeah, that's 3 and 2.
All right, my number 3 movie is another iconic film from 1987, Predator. I absolutely love this movie. You have this beast that is just a tank that can do no wrong, that beats people up like right, left, and center, that's fighting, that's a master of all weapons, going against an alien from outer space.
I like what you did there.
Yeah. Look, what stands out about this is supposed to be an action movie. You have the greatest action star of the 1980s. Right? Mm-hmm. Commando, Terminator, Predator. He is the action star. He was the action star of the 90s too. And this is this changed the gender of the genre of the movie. This is a horror movie. It's an action meets horror. It's fantastic. In fact, after this movie, all the other Predators are just pure horrors now. They don't even take the action of it, and it actually hurts the movie if you ask me. But I think some of the one-liners from this movie, and Arnold's the king of the one-liners, so go figure. But you get the famous "Get to the chopper." I can't do Arnold, but that one.
Yeah.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. I love that line. It's one of my favorites. There's a great YouTube video if you haven't seen it. They turn that into a song. So good. I ain't got time to bleed. The villain, as we said, we get more of the lore in the future of it, but. We just watched
at
Predator.
The beginning we didn't know anything about.
We knew nothing, and we reviewed the Predator on this podcast, right? The one that just came out. That was brutal.
Yeah.
Like now it's about we need because we're more sophisticated as a society. We need to have them like genetically enhance themselves to make them bigger and tougher and scarier.
They're already scary enough, to be honest.
That wasn't what it was about. It was about literally going mano a mano, about hunting, right? Not about killing mass numbers of people. It was about a hunting aspect to it that this movie had. I love some of the sequences of this movie. The Arnold prepping himself. Like Arnold starts to figure out like they can read his heat signature, so he dices himself in mud.
In mud, that's an amazing scene.
It's just a great scene how he sets the traps. It is so good.
And then he runs like a freaking cheetah.
Yeah. And they've never made a Predator movie even close to this. Yeah. So that's my number 3 movie. My number 2 movie is so good. It's from 2003. It's Freddy versus Jason. Whoa. 2 of the most iconic characters in horror history go head to head against each other. The wit of Freddy versus the tankness of Jason. Listen, in Nightmare on Elm Street and in Friday the 13th, there's a lot of prep work to get started. It takes like 30 minutes for just like them to admit there's actually something going on, and another 30 minutes of people pretending that nothing's going on. And only get 30 minutes of good actual killing. This movie, the carnage starts the moment the movie begins. This is Freddy using Jason to get fear back in the people of Elm Street. The sequences in this movie are fantastic. The sequence where Jason's walking through the rave and he's on fire is so good. The sequence where Freddy Freddy puts Jason to sleep and they're fighting him inside the dream.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's going on? Why can't I kill you?" Or like just like when Freddy and when they fight in the real world and Freddy cuts off Jason's hand and he just like grabs his hand and throws it at Freddy. It's so good. I love like some of the kids too. Like, unlike this movie that we just watched, Godzilla, Freddy versus Jason. When Freddy and Jason fight, the kids aren't like, let's follow the kids around. This is Freddy versus Jason. This is how it should be. And I love how the kids said it the best. They're not safe awake or asleep. It is the epitome of the slasher genre. This movie, it does everything right. And if you like a slasher movie, and I really do, like I could have gone with something more like a Predator here, but like I like the slasher genre, and this is no slasher movie has done or replicated what Freddy versus Jason has done. And in a lot of ways, Freddy versus Jason has hurt the slasher genre because they haven't made a good slasher movie since. They've tried to redefine it since, and they can't. It is phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
All right. That puts me with my number 2 movie. It's Predator. Same as, I don't know what's going on here. Need to chill. Copy me and stuff. But yeah, everything that you literally went down on a huge rant of why Predator was good, so I can't really.
Love that movie.
I don't even know what to add to it.
Get to the chopper!
Yeah, the scene. You got some of the biggest, toughest military men on the planet. And we just see them manhandled 6 guys manhandle a whole squad of men. And then they just get one manhandled by a predator. All down to one. Amazing movie. And is that the one with
Apollo Creed's in it.
Apollo Creed?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jesse the Body Ventura, who becomes the mayor of the governor of Minnesota.
And then Shane Black was one of the guys, the
Yep.
first guy that gets killed.
Shane Black, yep.
He's in there, and he directed The Last Predator, and it was terrible.
Yep.
So maybe he's not a real fan of the franchise. But my number 1 will always hold dear to my heart. It's something I always watch with my family, and we always watch it together, and we loved this movie. It was scary for me. It was funny.
Could be the same as me.
So much emotions. It's The Mummy. The Mummy, the very first Mummy film. I love this franchise. Everyone's shaking their head at me. I do not care. This movie is amazing. It was such a magical scene, and plus, who can forget that the iconic scenes of the sand head. Every time I see the sand head, that's just what I think of instantly. The Mummy. That was such an iconic thing. I still think of that scene from time. It has the big adventure man of Brandon Fraser, and then Rachel Weisz. He has the nice little smart nerd look. They all work together. No one knows what's going on. It's a curse. They have to stop the curse. Just an amazing family movie, and I think I need to rewatch this movie again because I miss it, and I haven't. I need to watch both movies. That's what I'm gonna do. And yeah, that's my number 1.
I'm copying you again today because my number 1 movie is The Mummy, and it's not even
Wow,
it's not close. It's not. It's honestly, it's not even close. When we talked about doing our top 10 movies, I knew The Mummy was number 1. I just had to figure out the rest. The Mummy is probably somewhere in my top 20 movies of all time. We did our top 10 movies. If I had to do another 10, The Mummy would be in there. I love this movie. This movie is well crafted. It's fun. It's got a great adventure story. It's got great humor that they throw into it. And my favorite type of history, if I could go anywhere in the world, it's Egypt. And we have Egyptian history at the forefront. I like the fact they kept it in the 20s, unlike they're trying to make the remake of The Mummy where they set it in modern times. I like how the Mummy is looking for love. I like it. What better reason is there? What better reason? How he has to. I love how he even has to process how he has to become human again, taking all of the pieces, the organs from the people who opened his chest. Mm-hmm. So good. A great characters. Rick and Evie, clearly. Jonathan, I love. The Magi guy, again, we don't get to talk enough about him. Some of the sequences.
He would be a great Jafar.
I know he would be. He's phenomenal as an actor. I love that you talked about the sand scene, but with the airplane while that's going on with it. Mm-hmm. I like the Benji, like the friend, like when Rachel Weisz tells him, "You will get your comeuppance." You always do, and he's like, "Really?" Or like the scene where he's trying to talk to the mummy and using all the different like languages. Yeah, trying to be like, "I'm good." He's so funny. Benny it's a funny character, and it's a magical movie. And you know what? If you like Indiana Jones, you'll love this movie because that's what this is. This is Indiana Jones. it's and you could say, well, Indiana Jones, instead of Nazis, it's supernatural. But it is more of an. It's not even really like, I think it's not really that big of a monster movie. It's more of an action movie, and it's the best of both worlds. And if you have never seen The Mummy, I highly recommend it. I was even debating going The Mummy, and The Mummy Returns is my number 2 because I love this franchise. Mm-hmm. It was ruined a little bit for me.
Plummeted into oblivion.
Like, how do you bring you? Look, I like Maria Bello, but you cannot replace Rachel Weisz. Evie made, like, Brendan Fraser was great, but Rachel Weisz was like, it's 1A, 1B. Like, this isn't like Brendan Fraser 1 and then Evie's number 2. No, they're like 1A, 1B. It can go either way. Like, I think Evie's a better character than like.
Yeah, her character was the better one.
Yeah, she's the smart.
And I had a crush on her character. So.
Oh my god, smart, right? And John, so good. But again, the problem with the third one was Jonathan didn't evolve in the 15 years since the last movie.
Yeah. And
then the kid, boring.
Anyways, the fourth one, was there a fourth one? No. There was the Scorpion King that sucked too.
Yeah, but they didn't have that. Took place in ancient times. But the problem with the Scorpion King is he was a villain and they made him a good guy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that too.
All right, so that's our top 10 movies. Please write your top 10 if you're interested.
We probably don't agree, so
we're curious.
Definitely talk the crap. It's okay. I'll defend this movie to the end of time.
And look, I know some of my movies aren't great movies, but they are my favorites, and I'm
it's all our opinions.
I grew up with some of these movies, right? Specifically Godzilla. Like, I love that movie. I grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyways, that's it for us this week. Next week on the podcast, we talk about Dark Phoenix. We watch Ma, another horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to the vault and getting you ready for the new Men in Black. We're going to talk about the original Men in Black with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Anything else, Xavier?
No, I'm just going to say don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on iTunes as well if you liked what you hear. Follow us on Instagram too, Rant on Wheels. We're everywhere, baby. We're anywhere and everywhere.
But if you follow us on Rant on Reels, because that might be more helpful.
Okay. I have a speech impediment, and you just made fun of me.
I just want to make sure they follow us on the right things.
I'm offended. You just bullied somebody on live television. I hope you feel better for yourself.
We're not actually live.
On live, whatever this is.
We're not actually live.
Recorded.
Yes.
It's recorded that you're an asshole.
All right, guys. You guys have a great week. We'll catch you next week.
Take care, guys. Bye.